Hey guys, just another INFJ ramble. I've made videos in the past saying that I've lost interest in a lot of things, but that's not necessarily true. And what do I mean by that? So, in re- I guess in regards to the external world, I've lost interest in a lot of stuff. So, like, I used to be really interested in reading and information consumption through books and people and media and stuff like that. I was very interested in art, creating art. I even like contemplated like maybe even selling art. I traveled a lot, so all of these things that I was really passionate about, I have lost interest in it. And then, I'm sure if you're in a similar place in life, you're wondering, okay, so what else is there? Why are we still here? What is the purpose? Well, the purpose is to do the inner work. So we probably spent most of our life trying to satisfy ourselves in some way, shape, or form on an external level. But that doesn't work anymore. I think like I've even lost interest in like eating to some extent. I mean, I still eat on occasion, but my appetite for food and drink has decreased tremendously. In my previous videos, I said sometimes I don't even have to eat breakfast or lunch, and for dinner, I'll just consume a very small amount. Because food, to some extent, has even lost its luster. Now, if you look at everyone else, predominantly, a lot of people around us, they are so heavily enmeshed in these things, and it's not bad. It's part of the process, part of the journey. It's part of some of the steps that you need to take towards self-discovery. You know what I mean? So I think, like for me, and probably for you, if you're at this particular stage in your life, you've lost interest in everything externally, so that you can start looking elsewhere. And where else is there to look but within yourself, right? And then for me, like I've even lost interest in working. I used to be a raging workaholic. Don't work anymore. And I feel like when you're in that transitory period, it can be really difficult. Number one, because nobody has really talked about it to you. They don't really tell you that you are going to possibly encounter something like this in your life. And you can call it a crisis if you want, because it kind of is. But what it really, really is, this feeling of crisis, is actually a period of transformation or transition. And it's basically life's way of redirecting you from trying to seek outside of yourself for gratification. So you reverse that and you turn it inside. And I've been spending a lot of time, like it's funny, I have so much time on my hand, like so much time. I can do this. I can like use this time to self-reflect. I can use this time to contemplate. I can use this time to, recognize and realize that for most of my life I've been an addict to food, an addict to trying to find connections, trying. It's like trying, okay? I was addicted to traveling because I was trying to find something, and I was, it's all about like we've been trying to do all these things outside of ourselves in order to garner experiences, in order to come to the conclusion that, none of this really lasts. And for me, anyways, I'm looking for something that will last. I'm tired of getting disappointed. And, on my journey to look for that remedy, I've come to the conclusion that, the only thing that lasts is my soul, like what resides inside. It's not outside of myself. It's been with me all along. And now I've put in more time to really, really understand myself, to really embrace myself, to understand myself. I think I might have said that already. To understand like my triggers, to understand why I am triggered, and to kind of like resolve like long-standing issues within myself that could be ancestral, could be from childhood trauma, And because I have this time, which is a blessing. I mean, I think we constantly immerse ourselves in distraction because we just don't want to see ourselves. We don't want to understand ourselves. We don't want to give ourselves the love that we truly deserve. And we don't want to like honor ourselves. I think that's why a lot of people are immersed in distraction. And to some extent, like I've done like the meditation thing. I've even experimented with, you know how some people say they have to find a guru. I've experimented with all these things just out of curiosity, just so that I could like, you know, witness things on an experiential level. And I mean, ultimately, everything that you've done up until now, you've been trying to find something, and the thing you've been trying to find is right here inside of you. Everything you need. And yeah, so if you've lost interest in life, I'm here to say, like, it may seem really shitty at first because you've been heavily programmed and heavily conditioned to chase things. But who's been giving you this information? Yeah, question it, you know? I mean, even like the educational system, I mean, the stuff that they've been teaching you and your children and your grandchildren and your grandparents and everyone else, I mean, how useful is that towards life? Towards life. I mean, I think the educational system primes you to become a servant, to work for corporations, but the corporations don't really have your best interest in mind. They have their best interest in mind, you know? So you really, really have to take a look at everything you've been participating in, everything you've been giving your spiritual currency to, and really seeing if it's a worthwhile investment. And wherever you're at, that's what's good for you. But for me personally, I give myself more time. I give myself, and to do nothing, to do no thing, to have no time constraints, no restrictions, no expectations. And I'm not gonna lie, at first it was foreign. I was going through some kind of like I said, a crisis. But I think crises are just like doorways to transformation. You know, you're like walking from one space of yourself to another. And when you're doing that and you're entering foreign territory, it can be scary. There's no manual. Nobody has taught you. Nobody has told you. You just kind of had to discover it yourself. And that's the thing. Like, we're learning and we're teaching so many things to each other, right? But I think learning and teaching can only take you so far. It's discovering things that really, really like propel you, you know. And the only way you can discover other aspects of yourself, other dimensions of yourself, is by giving yourself the time, you know. And yeah, I feel like that's why I've lost interest in everything. It's so that I could shift into this place of self-realization, self-knowing, self-love, you know. And I'm not talking about it from a narcissistic place, because narcissists need a energy source outside of themselves. I'm talking about like being able to sustain yourself and retain your energy on your own without external means. I was gonna go somewhere with this, shucks, so it just totally slipped my mind. But yeah, so I stopped searching, I stopped seeking, and I started just kind of sitting with myself. And I've been discovering so many things about myself that I normally wouldn't if I kept keeping on in this external world. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still in it, you know. And when I have to like encounter certain situations or people or experiences, don't get me wrong, I will meet it as it comes, but I'm not looking for it, I'm not seeking it. And I feel like, for the most part, pretty satisfied, you know. People who haven't come to this level or degree of life, I think that's why they're still like heavily immersed in experimentation. What is experimentation? Like traveling, socializing to the extreme, consuming, whether it be like food, alcohol, material goods, you know. They're still experimenting. And the reason they're experimenting is because they're trying to find something that can't really be found externally. And I think you have to like go through it to an extent where you exhaust yourself. Seriously, you have to exhaust yourself and then get to this like I guess rock bottom place where you're just like, okay, I've been doing all of this. I've been chasing the job, I've been chasing the house, I've been chasing the car, I've had the family, I've traveled extensively, I've had my own business, I've done this, I've done that, but I'm still not satisfied. You know, and then you I think like a lot of people like have to go through the crisis where they hit rock bottom, they're exhausted, and they're just like, there has to be a different way. I've lost interest in everything around me, everything I've been pursuing, everything I've been taught and told to pursue. I've lost interest in all of it, and what is there left, really? And that's when you start looking for the answers, and then you start discovering that you are the answer. You have been all along, you know? And then when you get to that point, then you can start the healing process, you can start the refining process, you can start the evolving process, becoming a holistic and healthy human being, and then you can function in the world as such. And the more people do this, the more healthier this place will be. I mean, Gandhi like hit it, be the change you want to see in the world, you know. And you can't be the change you want to see in the world by trying to control and manipulate other people's reality, you know. And that's what it's about. I mean, I am sorry if this is just my personal perspective, but even like people who are like left field, where like, you know, like PETA, save the animals, save this, save that, they're participating in the problem, really. You know, you can't change the external without changing the internal. You know what I mean? It's like fighting a losing battle. Trust me, I've been there to some degree, you know. I mean, I didn't have to go so deep as maybe some other people, because I'm pretty I'm not like 100%, but I'm pretty good at picking up on things just through observation. So, you know, most people have to like really go through it like on a physical level, and for me it's like really subtle. I can like see something in a split second and it'll just like click in me and make everything shift, you know what I mean? But I think it has to do with practice, you know. Anyways, I'm rambling on and on and on. Next video I'm gonna make is on peace and calmness. I don't know how I'm gonna stitch that together, but that's what it's gonna be about. So thank you for watching. Blessings to one and all. Amen.